Hi, welcome to Clutter Bravado.
Yes, and it's the energy. It's not just about the stuff.
So we should probably just get into it, right?
Let's go.
Good afternoon, Laurent.
Good afternoon, Elyse.
How are you?
Good.
Yeah?
It was a long 4th of July weekend.
Was it a long weekend?
It was.
Okay.
Chloe and my daughter and her fiance came down. Look, it was mostly good. So let's focus on the good things on
yes.
my end. I enjoyed, a hike. I did the whole LA thing. A hike, R1, Café Gratitude. We did sushi. We did Hi-Ho cheeseburger. We went to the beach
Oh my gosh.
in Santa Monica.
You guys really did it.
I know we were all LA.
Very LA.
Now the bad thing, I got a sunburn in a place that is a little bit punishing. And then, as you know, I'm a proud dad.
Yes.
I have a daughter who went to Cornell. She's engaged to a doctor. So I could, from the outside, it's like the good family.
Yeah.
And then they showed me their favorite TV show.
Oh no.
Oh yes. And so,
You sound stressed.
well, it's between stressed, depressed, annoyed, angry,
A little embarrassed, maybe?
embarrassed.
Okay. Just
Confused.
What is the show? Just tell them.
So this week on Love Island.
Oh no.
Oh yes.
Wait, Love Island USA?
Well, yeah, we haven't done the Spain and English yet, but we're gonna. No, just kidding. So yeah, I watched an episode of Love Island.
An episode, or are you watching Love Island?
No, I watched 2 episodes. I'm very confused.
Are you? Oh, sorry. So are you saying that you're too good for Love Island?
No, I'm saying that I'm not good enough. I can't understand. Everything in that thing just is the antithesis of who I am. The decor, the music, it's just I don't get it.
Okay, I understand. Now,
No, you don't.
I'm gonna say this. I have watched an episode of Love Island. Okay, I will agree with you that the decor is a nightmare. Also, I speak English as my first language. I don't know what they're talking about either, to be fair.
Okay.
So it's very, I think that it's kind of funny. The conversations that they're showing that they have.
Yeah, but you have my back. See, the thing is that you have
You
my
just
back.
always have my back.
You always have my back, and it is, we're doing stuff that's...
We do stuff together.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, for the last, I've
Like
known
ride
you
or
for
die.
a long time, 3 days. And for the last 3 days, we've created a bond.
So a strong bond.
A strong bond. I was looking for the strong word. No, it's murder.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's not really for you.
Because
But
it's not
it's
even like a train wreck.
No, okay.
A train wreck, I can sit and watch it.
Sure.
That's not even a train wreck. That's just, I just don't.
You're about to alienate a lot of our audience. I'm pretty sure there's some people out there that are like, oh, I love Love Island, and I can't wait to talk about Amaya Papaya.
Yeah, but on the other hand, Irish and Pepe, what a cool couple. All right, that's enough with that. It was just very funny.
Okay.
The Chloe and Alex are extremely funny. We had fun watching it. And even though I don't get it, I just had fun.
Yes. Well, that's good. That's great.
What about you?
I had a very different 4th of July weekend than you, or that I even expected. At the very last minute, I had to travel to New England area, to New Hampshire, and go spend it with a longtime friend, my longest time friend. This is someone who's known me since I was 11 years old. And it was a pleasure to see her. It was unfortunate circumstances, but it was a pleasure to see her and her husband and get to hang out there. This is important. And maybe there's somebody who's listening to this that could help me with it. I have such severe flight anxiety, and I've tried so many different ways to combat it. And I'll tell you this, I had taken a Dramamine GABA, which is apparently like it helps with stress, and like L-theanine is supposed to help with stress. I was sitting on the plane. We were about to like get to the runway, so we were like taxiing, and the power went out completely, and I had a panic attack again. And so, listen, it's not that like, and I shook during the entire, like there may or may not have been turbulence. I don't know. I was shaking the entire time. I was just trying to sit there, just like watch a movie or like watch a show or something so I could get my mind off the fact that I was on a plane. But I like flying. That's one of the reasons why I was going to New York a lot. I can't leisurely just cruise over to New York anymore. I'm not good at flying. And I want to get better at flying. So if anyone's listening to this and you know how to like get around it, like I'll give you the things.
Have you tried what's it called?
Hypnotherapy?
Yeah.
No, I haven't. I've heard that that's really helpful. Some things that I have tried. I've learned a lot about aviation. I've nerded out a lot about it. And so I'll say this. Turbulence doesn't, like mentally, I'm not worried about anything happening, but my body responds to it like immediate fight or flight. Like fight or flight. But like immediately I feel so much terror in my body and panic, and like my heart starts beating, and I try to like breathe and settle myself down. I know that this is like, it's just bumps in the road. It's just regular stuff. Turbulence is not dangerous, but it feels terrifying. Also, I tried like desensitizing myself a little bit. I went skydiving a few years ago, and that helped for a minute. But I just get so stressed out before getting on an airplane. During takeoff, I always have a bit of a panic response. It's shorter now and it's getting better. But like, if I'm good, I need to be able to fly whenever I need to. You know, for this was a last minute thing. And I didn't have time to like mentally prepare for being on a plane. I had to just like get up and go. And, wow, it was hard. I don't know what it is. I really love being on the ground. I love being on the ground.
Yeah.
But I also love traveling.
Right.
So, and the travel that I've done in the past, it's, I get through it. It's not the end of the world, but it's so hard in the middle of it. And I think, from here on out, I've got to find a solution. So if anyone has severe flight anxiety and you're good at it, at maneuvering around it or dealing with it, if you have any tips for me, I would love to hear them. Because
the solution is not. The solution is not a private jet. Okay,
aren't those worse? Isn't it worse to be on a private jet?
No, because no, it's not. It
helps my mental health to believe that being on a private jet is just awful. It saves me a pretty penny. I've heard that it, like turbulence though in a private jet can be just murder. It's just awful.
I don't know. I've never been on a private jet. So
really?
No.
Oh, okay.
But I know it's not the answer.
Okay.
But we need to try hypnotherapy. I think that's it. That should be your next.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know a hypnotherapist? If
No.
you know a hypnotherapist, please
DM.
send them to me. I would love to. I'll talk about it. We could do it on the show. That would be wild.
That'd be fun.
That would be fun.
I know. I wonder what.
I don't know if I want to be hypnotized, though. What if I saw Get Out. What if something happens?
No, I'll be there.
Does that make me feel safer?
No, I'd be like, make her do something silly.
No.
I would not do that.
What?
But I would not do that, Elyse. Come on, you know me.
Do I?
Well, for the last 3 days, I've had your back. No. Hypnotherapy on the podcast. I think that would be
maybe
fun.
We'll see. We'll see. It's a possibility. Anyway, I will say this. Oh, one other thing. While I was gone, you watched my dog.
And that was really cool.
Yeah.
Because your silly dog.
For those who've been listening from the beginning, you know that I think it was maybe episode, I don't know, or it was early on when my dog ran away. And from a dog sitter. And I have a very challenging, very lovely, wonderful dog. He's not easy. but he loves you.
We had really a lot of fun. I love challenging dogs, and actually, I don't know. He mellowed out. I mean, he's been around quite a bit because every
You're
time
like
we
looking
record,
at him right now. He's just sleeping now.
every time we record a podcast, he's been around, and I've spent time with him. I didn't know what to expect, and he was just a joy to be around.
Yeah.
So I'm glad I was able to keep him for a couple of days, and then Chloe and Alex loved him, and I don't know, it was really fun. Now I'm not ready to get back into the dog thing, but
you're not going to get a dog?
No, I'm not going to get a dog.
Okay.
But it was really nice to have him for a few days.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that very much.
Well, thank you. It's really appreciated. It really saved me because it's hard to get a dog sitter last minute for 4th of July weekend.
Right.
That much.
It was that part, but it was for me it was a fantastic opportunity to get a little bit of a dog fix.
Yeah. Oh, great. Well, thank you. Okay, I want to get into our guest. Our guest this week is really cool, but also we met him together through Art of Elysium. So Perfumehead and Art of Elysium partnered up, and they did an event where Art of Elysium artists and artists who are related to Art of Elysium designed labels for all of the icons. So their first collection. So if you're watching this on YouTube, I'm holding up the icons. This is like a sample pack of all of their scents. I think it's 12 of them, 9 of them. Yes, 9 of them. And these are amazing. So I started wearing a couple of them because I got a sample of the icons, and there are a couple of them that I wear every day now that I love so much. And when Daniel came here for our interview, he brought 1272. Again, if you're on YouTube, you can see this. Otherwise, I'll describe it to you. He brought a box. It's a beautiful, beautiful package of the 1272 Aroma. So this perfume is only available at Nordstrom, as far as I'm aware. And the packaging for this is so stunning. All of the promotional materials and everything for this perfume, it's all based and inspired around architecture.
Yeah.
So this is a perfect combination of lifestyle and design. This is where we've been wanting to land, and I love it so much. And not only is this so inspiring because it's taking a building, a house, a home in Palm Springs and turning it into an aroma. And Daniel, during the interview, really talks about how he's able to do that, like how he and his team are creating a story and creating a cinematic experience with scent.
And it's a fascinating interview regarding on that topic. For the people who know me, they know how much I love perfume. Both, and we touch base on that in the podcast. But supporting someone from LA who makes that quality of product from a perfume standpoint, I'm so happy. And
making it here. So a lot of the notes are created in France, and then everything is bottled here. And that's huge.
But he's an LA company. His vibe is LA. His scent is LA.
Yeah.
And there's many different forms, but it's all very, I find interesting, well balanced. Our podcast is to support the arts. LA is a huge part of it for now because that's where we're based. And I am I don't know, there's not proud, but I am, I'm fucking proud to be in LA and to be supporting people like him that have such a vision. And
so this Aroma 1272, this one is new. You're wearing it right now.
I am.
And as soon as he brought it here, like you put it on. I put it on too. I think for me, it's really summery and I really like it, but I tend to be a little bit like moodier and darker when it comes to the aromas that I wear. But for you, this smells incredible on you. And the notes in this, it reminds you of, it's a little bit almost citrus. It feels very classic.
Yeah, it's very classic.
Yeah. And
but interesting. Like
it's really interesting.
There's a twist, yeah.
And it's really wearable. It's unisex. All of the aromas are unisex. And we're not sponsored, but I want to tell you right now that this is an incredible aroma. It was such a gift to have Daniel on here talking about how he's able to create an entire landscape, an entire story with just scent. It's so beautiful. And I don't want to spoil it too much.
No.
But.
And the only thing that I would like to add is, our podcast has been very design centered. I mean, design and art. Mm-hmm. And I like the fact that, a perfume maker is an artist.
Yes.
We will have someone who's in the fashion industry, and all those people are bringing a vision, art, creativity. And I know that I made a comment a few weeks ago where, we're not paying enough attention to that side of society, that creativity, and I want to reiterate that and support. We're not QVC, but support artists, support art, support creativity in LA, San Francisco, locally as much as you can, because they, someone like Danielle or all the designers that we've had, the artists, they pour their heart out to make that thing.
Absolutely, absolutely. And this is truly, you can tell that there's so much passion in this product and in everything that he does. So
and
we
the
should,
interview translates that very well.
Oh, for sure. So we should get
to it.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Welcome to Clutter Bravado. We are here with Daniel Patrick Giles. Hi.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
I love having you here today because I am a really big fan of your work.
Thank you so much.
So you are the founder, creator of Perfumehead.
Correct.
And Perfumehead is an LA-based perfume company, but it's a lot more than that. Tell me a little bit about what it is. Just give us the introduction.
Yeah. So it's really my love letter to Los Angeles. I've lived here for 15 years, and I love LA. I love the area that I live in. I love the people. I love everything about it. And so when I was thinking of creating Perfumehead, I wanted it to have a soul. I wanted it to have meaning. I just didn't want it to be another brand. And so it really became about LA and my inspiration and my muse for creating the brand.
So when you're thinking of creating something, I don't think a lot of people jump to perfume. Like they don't jump to the smell as their first sense that they want to tap into. So what drew you to working with scent?
Yeah, I've always had a passion for scent. So I love to tell everybody when I was 15, my parents, I come from a family of 7 kids.
Oh my gosh.
And my parents,
okay.
yes, all boys and 1 girl.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And I'm right at the end.
Oh.
I'm the baby.
You're the baby.
So my parents would always let us go on a school trip to Paris and London. It was sort of like a rite of passage. My dad was in World War II, traveled, and so he wanted us to experience the world. So I went to Paris, and all my friends went to the Eiffel Tower. I went to Galerie Lafayette, bought Opium by Yves Saint Laurent for my mom.
Oh, yes.
And the rest is history.
Yeah. Wow.
I had a long career in fashion and beauty. So I started my career as a fashion director and a creative director, and then moved into the beauty industry. I was an executive at Benefit Cosmetics, Too Faced Cosmetics. And so I sort of always had this passion for fragrance. So all those experiences led me to wanting to build a fragrance brand.
Speaking of fragrance, this is so out of left field, but there was a Benefit product that I was obsessed with, and it was called Touch Me and Dare to Leave. It was the body cream, and Benefit doesn't make it anymore. It's been discontinued for like 10, maybe 20 years now. But I was obsessed with that smell, and that was something that when I wore it, I had, like, this was when I was like in my late teens, and it was the first time that I had the moment of feeling sexy.
Yep.
And so there are those early scents that will like tie you into a certain part of yourself and your own
identity.
identity.
The model was Bettina. It was like a pinup. Is that the one?
Yes, it was.
And it was scented, and it had this shimmer to it.
Yes. Oh, it was so
nice.
Yes,
I remember
it was so nice. I loved the way that smelled. Anyway, but I love that you worked for Benefit. I was in the beauty industry for a really long time.
Right.
Worked as a makeup artist for, 8 years.
Yeah.
Been an esthetician for about
That's great.
13. No, wow, way longer than that. 15. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Okay.
Well, I won't even give you my timeline.
But yeah, I think that it's really interesting moving through the beauty space and then going into scent, and then you're able to tell a story with aroma, which I think is something that's really powerful. How did you learn about scent and building scents?
So throughout my career, I've always, what I like to say, centered and surrounded myself in scent. So that was number one. And then working in luxury, fashion, and beauty, I was always around the Frederick Malls, the Chanels, Byredo, all those brands. The Noses would come in. I worked at a luxury retail store called Holt Renfrew in Canada. It's kind of like a Bergdorf's in the US.
Yeah.
And they would all come in and do product knowledges, and I'd learn about notes. So I just sort of absorbed a lot of it. And I was always just in love with like candles and how it made an environment. It sort of changed an environment. How when I sprayed scent, it made me feel really good. And it, you know, it sort of was the last thing I put on as I went out the door and sort of directed my day. So it was always sort of around me and on me. And so when I started, I wanted to create a brand that was the craftsmanship of France with the coolness of LA.
Yeah.
Because French culture, we were just talking, you know, fragrance is such a big part of it, and the craftsmanship that goes into that. And I love the craftsmanship. I think, you know, what's inside is more important than what is outside.
Yeah.
And so I worked with 4 female master perfumers from France. Our bottles were all made in France, and then we bring everything over and we bottle it here. So that's sort of what I wanted to achieve but it was really my whole career, my life has led me to this point. It really has.
Yeah.
It's amazing because we met you in earlier this year.
December,
yeah.
Art of Elysium.
And at Art of Elysium, yeah. And, you know, I'm like you, I love LA. And obviously I've been, you know, from France, but I love this place. I love our friends. I love the community.
Yeah.
And when we tried the perfume, I had that moment of like, this is what I remember of high-end perfume, because what you do is high-end perfume. But there was an energy that was like, this is here.
Yes.
And I love that. I absolutely adored it. So you have quite a few.
There's 9 in the X-Ray collection, and then we just launched a new one.
Yes.
There's a lot of love in those bottles, and the process of creating a fragrance, I had never done that before. I had a love for fragrance, but the idea of working with a master perfumer and nose and creating it was really amazing. Wow. And when I started, the master perfumer, her name is Constance Georges Picot, incredible woman.
Wow.
She used to work for Chanel in the 70s as one of their noses, just incredible. And she said to me, you know, a fragrance can be whatever you want it to be. Right. So what is your story? What do you want to, what story do you want to tell? And she said, people brief her and it's like typewritten on a piece of paper. I want it to smell like another fragrance. And she said, so you're the director. You are the director. You have to direct what you want to create here. And it felt so comfortable for me because being a fashion director, you were always coming up with sort of trends and themes, and you were always inspired by movies and you know, cinema and art and culture and music. And so I sort of sat back and I'm like, I want to sort of bottle all of that.
Yeah.
And our process was very unusual and very interesting. So I created screenplays for each fragrance. And I'd write a story. I would have a cast of characters.
Wait, did you film these?
I have a book. So I created these books. And I still have the book. I should have brought it today, but I had the book. And I would do a script. And then I would talk about, you know, where they are, the inspirations. I would pull tears. My whole living room was like covered in like images. And I would pull tears. And then I would put it into a book. And then what was fascinating for me, and I did not realize this was happening, but it was happening, is that Constance and the other master perfumers would read it, then they would look at the images, and they would create the fragrances based on what they saw in those pictures. So, for example, we had talked about Somewhere being one of your favorite fragrances. It's all about Flamingo Estate. There's this beautiful shoot of Margot Robbie in the pool, and she's also in the house. She has this big white shirt on, sitting on a leather couch, and there's a big green painting behind her. And the perfumers would pull, so the green from the painting was vetiver.
Yeah.
The cleanliness was white. The leather was an under. And we created all our fragrances based on story, inspiration, images, music, as opposed to, I like the smell of this.
Yeah.
And can you copy it? And that's where I was blown away, because I had no idea that we could go into that sort of depth and come out with original scents. And that's why I say, when you love the fragrances, it's because there's so much love in them.
Yeah.
Right.
They're like, her passion, my passion. And it was the most incredible experience. And we did that for each one of our scents. And it was magical.
Yeah. So I have worn most of your collection at least one time. And
that makes me very happy.
The ones that I really gravitate toward are Somewhere, which I told you I wear during the day usually. It's a great day scent, and I like it because also none of your aromas have a clear gender, which
Correct.
I love.
Very important.
I love. Anyone can wear it, but there are more like masculine and feminine tones to it, or you'll put it on, and when I wear Somewhere, I feel instantly confident. I feel like my shoulders are back a little bit. I feel like relaxed and confident whenever I wear it. And then the combination, like my nighttime combination, anytime I'm going out, since I've met you, I will wear Alone Together and Room Number. And
Fantastic.
There's when I wear the two of them together, it feels like I'm out at a sexy night out. Like I even if I'm not going anywhere.
A night of bad behavior, we like to say.
I'm not going to lie. It smells like scotch and cigarettes a little bit. And it just has this it's scotch, it's tobacco, it's leather. It's very sexy.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that as you were describing like the Margot Robbie, I'm like, on a leather sofa with the clean white shirt. Like all of that makes so much sense. Yeah. So, okay, I'm so curious about this being a film director for scent too, because I also want to see them. Like I think that you should film these. Are you going to?
Here's my dream. I want to turn each one of the fragrances into a short film.
Please.
It's so natural. I mean, I've got all the scripts done.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. I see scent very cinematically. Mm-hmm. And it's actually one of our codes for the brand is scent is cinema. Mm. And what I found as an outsider into the industry was it was very flat. It was ingredients, it's got this and it's got tonka bean, it's got all these ingredients, or it was girl on horse, escaping man, hair blowing in the wind by this fragrance. Yeah. And it just had such a lack of storytelling, a lack of a narrative, of a place, of someplace you wanted to escape to or be part of. And so once those scripts were all done, it just a light bulb went on. I'm like, oh my God, at some point, I have a whole thing. Yeah. I want to hire like young, cool directors, give them the scripts and just say, go, film, come back with whatever your interpretation of it is.
I love this. Yeah, and also we're going to talk about that because I absolutely need to be involved. That's very important to me. Okay, perfect.
Done.
So what you're kind of describing is almost synesthesia. It's, synesthesia, like blending senses, and sometimes in people's minds, when you smell something, it reminds you of a color. Or when you see a letter, it will remind you of a color or a sound. You can hear things that, other people can't hear. Yeah. Do you feel that that's something that you have?
I do, because something happened during COVID, just in general, with scent. I think people were isolated. Mm-hmm. You wanted to have an atmosphere in your home, so like candles became more popular. A new generation discovered scent. For me personally, I came very close to losing my life with COVID.
Oh my God, yeah.
I was in bed for 3 months. Jeez. I was on oxygen. My doctor saved my life. I lost my sense of smell.
Oh my God.
And so I was sort of halfway through the development of Perfumehead, and this hit me. And it set me back for a whole year. Mine was all sort of in the sort of frontal lobe of my brain. To type a text would take me like 30 minutes.
Wow.
So I had to sort of relearn things. And part of my sense of smell coming back was it came back like 400 times more powerful.
Wow,
And I could
okay.
smell things like down the street. I could tell you what's in the
Oh
garbage.
my gosh, wow.
So I became much more in tune with the power of scent, the power of the olfactive connection between, that's really where Perfumehead comes from. It's that olfactive connection. And I think scent, fragrance, whatever you want to call it, has been so underrated and sort of bastardized in a way.
Yeah.
Right.
Because you go into a grocery store, go down the cleaning aisle, everything from, your Swiffer pads are infused with lavender to everything has a scent, and they're not good scents.
Yeah.
And I feel like we've almost sort of ruined our sense of what quality or what good smells are through sort of a bastardization of scent. And I think there's a whole new generation who is sort of awakening to beautiful scents, who are using scent as a powerful tool to make them feel good. We live in crazy times, and it's a great way of just sort of centering yourself. I'm fascinated with the research that's going on with scent and Alzheimer's and sort of how it really impacts your brain.
Yeah.
There are studies now that when certain scents are put in front of people with dementia, their cognitive ability goes up by like 400%.
Oh, wow.
So scent has
Yeah.
been something that I think has been marketed in a way that just hasn't really honored the real beauty of Mother Nature. I mean, most of our notes and ingredients come from nature. A lot of brands use a lot of synthetics. I try to use, like 95% natural. So you're connecting with Mother Nature. You're connecting with Earth. You're bringing those all together into a beautiful formula. So I think it's a really exciting time for fragrance.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I've always worn perfume.
Of course,
always
it's part of
had-
your culture.
It's part of my culture.
Yeah.
I mean, as I told you before we started recording, one of my strongest memory was my dad putting out Zaro in the morning and me looking at it, being like in awe. And that smell, was vivid. It was, and I still remember, 50 years later, Paco Rabanne and Zaro were and there was, I don't know what it brings, happiness, but so it's always been in my life. But it's interesting because when we design, I see the women, waking up in the morning, getting out the kitchen, the perfume,
Right.
just living. But there's artistry to it, and I agree that it's been bastardized. Like too many things have been
Of course.
bastardized, and our little podcast is to try to fight that trend and be like, no, there's art to furniture design, obviously paintings and fashion and perfume at your level.
I love that you use the word artistry because part of our positioning is we make perfume, we live for artistry.
Right.
And that's so important to me because, furniture, I'm a big home furniture person, and you see where everything gets knocked off and, everybody buys their furniture at IKEA. And I think in a lot of areas, we've lost that sense of craftsmanship, the craftsmanship of making something, of building something from scratch.
Yeah.
I mean, something with your hands, or, the shape of a bottle, all those details, it keeps me alive.
Yeah.
I love all that stuff. And artistry, I think, whether it's furniture or fragrance or design, to me, design has an impact on everything.
And we're all intertwined.
We are.
That's
Yeah.
the beauty of what we do, and I love the fact that you're an LA based because you bring that spirit of California and Southern California to something that was considered just the French or
Correct.
Yeah.
and that is powerful because that's the the next generation of for
Correct.
young people to be like, no, you can, it's made here, it's all natural.
Yeah.
That's the thing is that there are so many misconceptions about living in a beautiful and intentional way that it is something that is exclusively for people who are able to travel to Paris a couple times a year. And there are a lot of people that aren't able to, but you can still live in a really intentional way. And something that you can do is have something that's really special.
Correct.
Rather than trying to create a 5-figure worth collection of every perfume that's ever existed, you can have a few that you wear every day that make you feel really good and will brings you a sense of self, and that will allow you to like live freely, as who you are, and letting yourself be creative. And I know that's what it is for me. I have a couple of them that I really love, and you make all of them, so I appreciate it. But it's something that, like, putting that on, like I said, makes me stand a little bit taller, and that it is something that is really accessible, but you have to be intentional with it.
You do, and I think intention is so important in everything we do. And I'm a big less is more, sort of like stripping away as opposed to adding on.
Right.
We've lost some of that, and I love, that's what I get from LA. I love LA so much because there are people like both of you where it's about the craft. It's about, small doesn't mean bad. Small is good. And creating things. And we're in a very creative town, and it's a very inspiring town. You have the ocean, you have the mountains, you have
the desert.
The desert. You have all these smells. And I think it all just really comes together to create something very intentional. And I love the word intention, because I think when I started on this journey, I didn't know what I was doing. I was just like, I know I want to do this, but I don't know. I know what the end looks like. It's sort of the path in between. And every step, I had to be very intentional about my choices. And when things became too overwhelming or too many choices, everything got confusing. But when I stripped away and stripped down to the essence of what I was trying to do, it just became much more fluid and much more beautiful and much more enjoyable.
Yeah, especially in what you're creating. I know that for me as an artist, like I said, I do 1,000 different things, I guess I was an esthetician for a long time, and I did makeup, and I model, and I act, and of all the things that I do, when I'm able to focus in on one thing and again be really intentional with it, then something so much greater is able to come out of that.
Correct.
So the fact that you have a line of, it's now nine scents.
9 fragrances.
Yeah, 9 fragrances. You don't have 200 of them. You're not trying to cater to you are creating a very curated and intentional collection, and in that there are options for people, and I like that I'm able to try a few different things too.
It's interesting because when you said less is more, I imagine you as a painter, because it's really,
I don't paint, but I wish I
but it is a painting that you're doing.
Very much.
It is, yeah.
And my question is, when do you know, like an art, when do you know when to stop?
That is very difficult. That is the most difficult thing, because I think if I was probably about 20 years younger, I would not have been able to stop. I would always think that there's something that I'm missing. I think with experience and age, I really knew when to stop because I had to get it launched. And what happens specifically with fragrance is you smell it. Constance and I, the master, we have a conversation about, what we've come up with. And then if you want or feel you need to make alterations, you do. I've seen this so many times, is that people can't stop.
Right.
And all of a sudden, what was this beautiful fragrance has now been stripped away of all the energy, of all the sort of beauty that went into it. And it's just like everything's gone. So you walk a very fine line with sort of taking too much out or just deciding to leave. And you have to go with your gut. I mean, I went with my gut. I love this. It smells good. I would wear it. Next, move on.
Yeah.
Overthinking, over designing, doing things too much. It just ruins the whole. Creatively, I think we would all agree that when you get too many voices, too many opinions, too many people sort of critiquing it, you're sort of peeling away at the essence of what made it great.
Yeah.
That's been my
Yeah,
experience.
no,
Yeah, perfectionism can really ruin
Oh, boy,
a
yeah.
beautiful creation when you're trying to like, well, it could be a little bit, well, what if we did this, or what if we did this? And like, obviously you want something that is in line with your integrity. It's what you have in mind. But when you start getting to that little tiny tweaks, and also when you get too close to it, you're unable to really grasp it as someone would if they had or were just discovering it for the first time.
Correct.
When I was working on an album one time, and I remember obsessing about the sound of the guitar. Like there's one guitar and like the volume of it, and just I'm like, something about it needs to change. And now every time I hear it, that's the only thing that I hear.
That you hear.
And I also, because I was so focused on that and trying to micromanage the whole thing, I can now look at that album and be like, well, I think I would never do it that way again. I would change a lot of things about it, mostly by just letting the art be the art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing I really noticed in developing the fragrances was that when the ideas started to happen, they started to come through me. And I don't want to get too woo-woo, but
that's real.
It really, like, I put it out there what I was looking for, and then they all started downloading. And it just kept coming and coming and coming. I barely left my place for almost 6 months in this process. It was kind of a bit kooky, but it just, the ideas kept sort of, it was like a string that I just kept pulling. And there was even more to unwrap and more to discover. It was pretty magical. I use the word magical a lot because it really just unfolded in a way that was so creative and so unexpected. And the bigger you get, the more you're tasked with, you start losing a bit of that. So you always have to be careful to sort of reset and make sure that you're not losing that.
Yeah. And staying in that place of seeing your talent as a gift.
Correct.
And a gift that you get to share.
Yes.
And not looking at it as something that you are only giving from yourself to when you are really channeling it, when you get into that flow, the ideas start to come. You have the opportunity to share that with the world, and you have to.
Yeah, and I always ask myself, why am I doing this? I love to create things, but for me, it's about the joy it brings people. So when I'm with someone who experiences one of the scents, I see their faces completely change. Their faces light up, or they tell me a story. Like, I love your fragrance so much, I spray my sheets at night now.
Yeah.
Or,
Wait, I haven't thought of doing that yet.
It's a good one.
Okay.
It's a good one. And then I get people who say to me, I wear Canadian tuxedo and my partner wears Cosmic Cowboy, and together we're like, and
Ooh.
so
That's a great combination.
It's a good combo.
I like it.
So that brings me great joy to see that it's bringing someone else joy. And I think that's really important.
Yeah.
But you think about, that person that you cross in
Stranger.
the hallway, the stranger.
Yeah.
And suddenly you have that smell, and that split second, and that can change someone's life.
Correct. Or you're walking by and you're wearing something, and somebody stops and they turn around and they ask you what you're wearing.
Yeah.
It's like I think fragrance is a connector.
Yeah.
That's really at the heart of all this. It connects people. And I think for years it was somebody walking in a room, overpowering a room with a scent, and everybody like, oh my God, who is that guy?
Yeah.
Get him out of here. I really view scent as like a connector, connecting us. I met you through scent.
Right.
I've met some of the most incredible people through their love of scent and my love of scent.
Yeah.
And I think what could be better than, being able to connect with people on that level.
Yeah. There's, that also reminds me too, because you mentioned that the cologne that your dad wears, and my dad growing up, he wore Polo, he wore Aspen, he wore Old Spice. And so it was just like, these are those three I will always associate with my dad. My grandmother wore Beautiful by Estee Lauder.
Yes.
And all the women on my dad's side of the family wore Beautiful. And so now anytime that I smell that, I immediately think of family. And it was something that I feel in past generations you had that one
The signature.
scent. Yes, the signature scent,
scent.
that was just you. And I find a lot of value in that. I think there is something special in that.
Yeah, well, fragrance has such a connection to memory.
Yeah.
What's really interesting is I'm same as you. There's certain scents, Old Spice, like all those scents.
Yeah.
They trigger a memory of a parent, a grandmother, someone. A new generation of fragrance wearers, it's all about the wardrobe. Mm-hmm. It's all about creating their own fragrance. So we do a lot of layering with fragrances. Mm-hmm. And I meet people all the time who love a fragrance and they're like, okay, what else can I put on it to make it my own? Mm-hmm. So sort of the polar opposite of a signature scent that you wore for your whole life turns into now a wardrobe of scent, a playground, which is really, I love that.
It's fun. Yeah, it's fun. Yeah.
It's really interesting. But I love, my mom used to wear Chanel and my dad used to wear, I think, Brut and Old Spice.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was like, so you have those memories and they stick with you.
Yeah, they do.
stick with you. I think that's so powerful. Long after they're gone, you sort of smell it and you remember them and you remember moments and so.
Actually, that does remind me the one that I wear every day somewhere. It has a very similar. I don't even know if it smells exactly the same. It doesn't. But there's something about it that reminds me so much of my high school boyfriend.
Oh, good. I hope.
Yeah. Well, listen, it's complicated. But he used to wear something that was just, it was one that like him and all of his guys wore, like that they all shared. Like it was high school. They would like get one bottle of nice cologne and then they'd all spray it on themselves. It's so funny.
Nothing's changed, by the way. They're still doing
they
that.
They still do it.
Yeah.
That's so funny. But yeah, but it reminds me of this guy. Like the first time I sprayed on, I was like, oh, that time in my life was really sweet, and being able to reassociate that aroma then with like where I'm at in my life now it's really powerful.
Yeah. And I think scent, it's narrow in its scope, and I think there's so many ways to look at it. So I was telling you just before we got on, I did a fragrance around my house.
Yes.
And it's a house in Palm Springs. It's mid-century modern. It's an architectural, sort of masterpiece and built in 1955. And it's not a scent created for the environment. It's a scent about the environment that you can wear.
Yeah.
And so going outside of those sort of comfort zones of what a fragrance should be and how it should be developed and, I think is very exciting. And it brings sort of my love of architecture, of scent, of surroundings sort of all together. Yeah. So it's a really wonderful playground, and you can kind of create whatever you want.
Yeah.
It's interesting because we were talking yesterday, you and I, about what we imagine what the podcast is about, and then having you brought us the perfume, and it's like architecture, perfume, the whole combination of what our podcast is about, what our vision for what we do is about, because we don't just do furniture, for example.
It's not one-dimensional.
It's not one-dimensional.
Correct.
And the fact that you bring that into your art is really fun. So do you because I imagine my clients, it's like I see them, I imagine what they're doing, what they're reading. And do you do that?
I do. And I'm actually the client. Like I start with myself.
Yeah.
And what am I interested in? What sort of gets me excited? And I often find that my interests are similar to other people's interests, or I like something, or I talk to someone who has similar taste or similar interests. You sort of start to see how it unfolds. But I'm always looking at sort of what people are wearing, how they live, walking into a room, what's the energy. I'm very, very, very impacted by energy of a room, of people, walking into a room that's like beautifully curated, like this room. It makes me feel good. Walking into a place that's really cluttered and the energy is very frenetic, does not make me feel good. It's the same with scent. A scent that makes me feel good. So, I can picture sort of the guy, the girl, whoever is wearing it. And it all plays into who's wearing it, where they are. It's like
Right.
the movie. It goes back to the
Yeah,
movie.
To the movie.
yeah.
They are the characters in the movie.
Yeah.
One of my favorite films is La Piscine.
We
So-
need-
Yes.
yes,
Okay.
Yes.
This is also
My
Laurent's favorite film.
It's also my
He's
favorite.
told me many times that I need to see it,
But
but
so
Huge inspiration.
right.
Wow.
So I think
Yeah.
that's the La Piscine is probably the three most beautiful people
Oh,
ever. Romy Schneider, Alain Delon,
and Jane Birkin.
and Jane Burke.
Jane Birkin's my total
my
icon.
gosh.
She's
Oh
the
my
one.
gosh. I
So
love her,
the
yes.
the surrounding south of France, the furniture Roger Talon, and just the vibe, the atmosphere, just brings you into a time that's just absolutely magical.
Paco
and-
Rabanne did the clothing for Ronnie
Really?
Schneider, right? Is that?
Romy Schneider.
Yeah, Rami Schneider. Yeah, incredible.
Wow.
Wow, I didn't know
Okay,
that.
Yeah.
I definitely need to see this film because this is not the first time it's been brought up on this podcast either. So I will watch it. Yes, please.
It's incredible. So somewhere, the fragrance you love is very much. It's inspired by Margot Robbie, but it's also inspired by La Piscine.
Okay.
So that movie
Oh,
is in my
fun.
top 3. The other movie is Mulholland Drive.
Okay.
So Reine des
yes.
Anges, Queen of
Great.
Angels,
Yes.
which is one of our fragrances. That opening scene of the twinkling lights of L.A., Hollywood
Mm-hmm.
below, the dark path. That's 100% the
Okay.
inspiration behind. So movies for me, characters, what they're wearing, where they are.
And you said that Room Number is inspired by Chateau Marmont.
Chateau
right?
Marmont. It's inspired by Castle on the Hill, a book. So I do a ton of research.
Okay.
So there's a bit of a history part to Perfumehead too.
Okay.
That I like to go back and like Babylon is another book. Lala Love's inspired by. So it's books, it's culture, and there is so much history in LA. I don't think people really understand.
Right.
They
Yeah.
think movies, they think. You either get, The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills or Tinseltown. But
Yeah.
there's so much history in buildings, in people, in places. I mean, the chateau, I used to stay there when before I lived in LA. And I always would go into that hotel because it's from the 20s and it's iconic. And the wood, and at nighttime, sort of there's like an amber glow.
Yeah.
And what happens when that door closes? Is it decadence or despair? Is it a party, or are you in solitude? And so I did a bunch of research around the hotel, and so you just start unraveling things that I would never have known about had I not spent the time. So research for me plays in heavily. Joan Didion, my favorite author.
Oh, yeah.
So going back to her books, and there's just so much history.
Yeah.
And you can just like bottle it all up.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's funny. One of my favorite books was The Perfume by Patrick Giles,
Yes.
and it's just so powerful. All about scent.
Yes.
But the beauty of that book. I read
Yeah.
it twice.
I
The only
think
book
we're really just starting to understand scent. I think it's something that a long time ago was very powerful, and I think as other great things have been sort of ruined or damaged over time. And I feel like there's a bit of a renaissance happening.
Yeah.
Even just quality of fragrance. So we started with a line of extrays. So highest concentration of perfume oil, very complex. And now I see everybody doing an extrait. And that tells you the customer wants a better quality. I think the customer is very sophisticated with fragrance now.
Yeah.
So it's a really exciting time for fragrance
Yeah.
and scent.
Yeah.
And
Also, if you think about it, scent is one of the very few senses that can't be doctored by AI yet.
no, that's interesting. So I can talk to you about AI
It can
and
be?
fragrance. Well, it's not doctored, but again, AI is a tool. It's how you use it.
Yeah.
Right.
So
we've talked extensively on the
I'm
podcast
sure.
about that too. We both have started using it quite a bit in our lives as
and
well.
I use it, and I quite like it.
Do you?
But
Yeah.
it's very contained.
Yeah.
So in fragrance, there is definitely AI coming into fragrance. It's how you use it.
Interesting.
So you can look at 3,000 molecules, ingredients, notes, and figure out different complexities or how they go together. So there is an area for it. It's not about creating an AI fragrance, which I'm sure is coming. It's more about looking at the complexity. In our case, it's looking at the complexity of a fragrance and what notes could go. You can go through like 30,000 notes and in a few seconds have it distilled down to something. So it is coming into our lives in every way. I think it goes down to how you use it. Like I shouldn't say never, but I wouldn't type into a computer a story about a fragrance and then pop out. That takes the human part out of it for me.
And I think that's going to be true for most of it. I mean, I think that AI has obviously a use in our society. I think that
correct.
The human part and the people that can stay with that human part and have a story to tell, have a point of view, will succeed beyond because that's what we need. I mean, at the end of the day, I do believe that we're human and we need human connection. And the perfumes you make, I connected to it. I connected to it because there is you behind it.
Right.
And if you're not behind it, I guarantee you that I will not connect to it.
Correct.
Because I am just human. And I'm not doing it intellectually. I just react to the scent. I put, Xanahood and there is someone behind it that thought about that, And I think that also, like design, design obviously can be done by AI. It's going to be either the same thing or it's going to be a clusterfuck of a room.
Right.
But there's not going to be a story. There's not going to be an understanding of the family.
Soul
there's
to it.
Of the
there's
what
the soul,
the living
the psychology.
in it is. Yeah.
But there are people that make bad perfume too, just like AI.
Yeah,
that's true. Yes.
And
we had that conversation with a guest previously about art, and one of her biggest points was like people make bad art. Like,
yes.
That's correct. Yes.
Yes.
And it's interesting because I fell in love with Xanahood. I've tried a lot of hood perfume. Some of them are too strong. Some of them you don't get the hood. Some of them go away, after 2 minutes. Some of them are just so overbearing that, it's like, look at me, I'm coming out. Yours was complex, has all the notes that you need, and it's complex and it stays, and so it was magical, and that's a talent. That's a talent that you have that you can't duplicate.
Human connection is very, very important in everything we do. And when we came out of COVID, I launched Perfumehead in September 13th, 2022. And we had just come out of that horrible period. And it was the first thing I noticed, because I was in the store all the time. It was at Violet Grey, customer coming in, and people wanted to connect. People wanted to talk to you about the stories of the fragrance. They wanted to smell. They wanted to have that human connection. And I think launching that right after COVID really propelled us, because people wanted to reconnect with people. People wanted to connect with beautiful things and things that made them feel good. I think human connection, if I was, to me it's very important in everything I do, is that there has to be a human connection.
And it's interesting because we went to a couple of restaurants for work, and we had a bad experience, and I think that it's the human connection that now we need. We don't want to go. I don't want to go to Olive Garden, and like it's no longer, and it's not a price point. It's just that I need a restaurateur that's in his restaurant, that's cooking, that I get something that's
Correct.
real. And I think that for me, I need that. And I think that's where I respond to a good experience, because I was thinking about it. Why do I like a restaurant? Part of it is that I do cook a lot. So it's like it pisses me off when, but I think that is the connection that I need, the soul.
Yeah. And it is absolutely in sharing the story. Like I really like that you said that people are seeking that. I know that I personally am seeking that too. We talk about that with furniture all the time, that yes, you can go online and you can find a sofa that's going to fit your dimensions, but until you sit in it, you don't know what it feels like. You know?
And it's that feeling.
Yeah. And just like we can talk about all of your scents and we can talk about the story of the aromas that you create, but until somebody actually smells it,
Right.
they're not going to know. So real quick, where can they find you?
So we're still very small. I mean,
Yeah.
we've only been in business 2.5 years. Feels like, I don't know, feels like forever, and that's great. So we're at Violet Grey in Los Angeles, Just One Eye, Maxfield in New York at Bergdorf's. We're at Nordstrom as well. So we have a really nice group of retailers. And then we have our own website where we sell everything.
Yeah. And you sell like a sampler thing so people can
We do.
go get it. Yes.
It's called the Icons.
The Icons. Yes.
We made them icons before they were icons.
We recommend.
Highly recommend
highly
it.
recommend.
Oh, thank you so
Highly
much.
recommend it.
And yeah, I know we Just One Eye is for many reasons is one of our favorite stores.
We
and,
love Just One Eye.
It's such a great spot.
Yeah.
It's such a great spot. Speaking of Paco Rabanne, I just
and the art.
picked up a little something there.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
Very good. I was just there yesterday as well. So
Yeah, it's such a great place.
But it's such and there too, art. Curated, incredible collection, incredible curation. You can feel the soul of.
And everyone who works there too is just they're there for you.
For me, Just One Eye is all about people.
Yeah,
I love
that's why we go usually.
From Tim the doorman to Renato and John.
Yeah,
they're just the loveliest. See, to me, they're LA for me.
Yeah,
they represent sort of the coolness, the lightness of LA that I think unless you live here, you don't really understand.
Yeah.
Just sort of this melting pot of really great, talented, creative, lovely people.
Mm-hmm.
That's my LA.
Yeah.
That's what I like.
I ask 3 questions of all of our guests. And so since we're wrapping up, because lunch is about to be ready, we're having lunch today, I'm going to start with our first question.
Okay. Drum roll.
What is the messiest place in your home?
Oh, that has to be my office.
Okay.
It's for sure my office because it's full of magazines,
yes,
tear sheets, books.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yes.
And it's all analog. It's all things you touch. Like you're actually going through magazines and pulling out tear sheets.
Oh,
this isn't
100.
like
I have a collection. I mean, magazines are sort of not around much anymore, but I have collections of magazines. And I also I've been collecting books since I was 18. I have a massive photography, fashion, art, pretty picture books that would make your head spin.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
Lots of pretty pictures. I'm a Libra.
You're a Libra. I'm a Libra.
The best.
When's your birthday?
Gemini.
Oh, of course. I knew you were going to say Gemini.
Naturally. That's why we get along so well, I think.
Geminis and Libras. Yeah,
we get along.
September 28th.
You're a September Libra.
Yes.
I'm an October Libra.
I have a little bit of Virgo, too.
Okay, yeah.
I pull a lot of Virgo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
Okay, so that's the message. That is definitely the message.
I can see it. I can see it.
Yeah.
Actually, all of this entire interview just made so much more sense now that I know you're a Libra. Like, oh, yeah.
We had to get to that part.
I should start asking that right away so that we can give all of our listeners a good context.
Yes, very much so. I knew you were Gemini.
Really?
Yeah, totally knew you were Gemini.
Huh.
And I kind of sensed you were going to say Libra.
Yeah.
I could feel that come. I thought you might say Virgo too.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anyway.
I'll take that as a compliment.
That is a compliment.
Yeah. My sister's a Virgo.
Okay.
She's really got it together. So.
Very good.
Okay. Second question.
Yes.
What is your favorite space in your home or someplace that inspires you in Los Angeles?
Or in the desert.
Huh?
Or in the desert.
Well, I was going to say, so I'm always inspired by Los Angeles.
Yeah.
I have a home in Palm Springs, and it's primarily glass post and beam. Mm-hmm. So when you're in the living room at nighttime, it's like being in a little lantern.
Oh,
It's just,
wow,
it's sort of like, because you have all that glass, you have all the reflection, and there's a pool. So I would say my living room. It's really beautiful.
Oh, wow.
You have to come out and see it sometime.
Yeah, I really want to. Yeah.
Magical.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're going to have to do that.
Yes, we'll do a road trip.
Oh my gosh, that sounds so fun.
I love the desert. We share that love.
Oh,
yeah.
That's sort of my other, we talk at Perfumehead in Osmocosm, Scent Universe. So Los Angeles is the first Osmocosm, and then my second one is the desert.
Amazing.
I want to do a whole candle collection on the desert.
A candle collection by Perfumehead.
It's going to be beautiful.
Yes, I will I'm going to have all of this.
And it's being out there. I mean, being in LA and being able to go out there is just
incredible.
Yeah.
We're very lucky.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
2 hours.
Not
Well,
with traffic,
depends what
without
time you
traffic.
leave.
Yeah, but it depends.
That's a whole other
Yeah.
podcast.
But there's a magic and there's a,
Very much so. It's a beautiful place.
Yeah. So, but my third question
Okay.
for you is, I mean, I think I know the answer to this one, but when you first walk into a room, what's the first thing you notice?
I pick up on the energy.
Yeah.
That's sort of the first thing. And also the clutter.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
If there's too much to sort of take in, and it sort of sets me back a bit.
Okay.
So I think the energy of a room. I'm
Yeah.
very much, I feel energy, not to get too carried away, but I really do. Like
I
the
get
energy in this room is incredible. I love the energy at my place in Palm Springs. I love, it's energetic for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that too. Naturally, I thought the first thing, well, the smell. Like,
Yeah, it's interesting. It's more energy than smell.
yeah.
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 Most places don't smell. That's
Really?
Yeah, I mean, people, you don't really get a sense of. I am very much attracted to that. So when I walk into someone's home that has a really beautiful smell, that's the energy right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do love a place that has a beautiful smell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, here you can smell that there's a delicious French roast chicken
Oh
in
my
the
gosh.
oven.
Wow.
And we're going to be getting to that. But before we do you have any announcements you want to make or anything that you have? I mean, obviously 1272.
1272 is our new launch. No, just thank you so much.
so where do
what a
people find
pleasure.
you online? Your website?
Perfumehead.com and Nordstrom.com. Violet Gray if you're in Los Angeles, Just One Eye in Los Angeles.
Perfect.
Maxfield in Los Angeles. So.
And do you do store, like, is there days where you're in the store where people can come?
I'm actually in the store quite a bit.
Yeah.
I was at Just One Eye yesterday. I spent the day. I'm in Violet Gray. It just depends, but I actually love being in the store.
Yeah.
All the answers are in stores.
Yeah.
They are not, you can get a report online, an hour in a store, and everything is revealed. You talk to the customers, you understand what they're looking for. It's pretty amazing to spend that time in the store because you learn so much.
Yeah.
You learn so much.
Yeah.
So.
And I think that for our listeners, if you have that chance, the knowledge is fantastic.
Highly recommend.
But
And
the same
yes.
thing as an artist, talking to an artist about his art makes you understand, a painting.
You value it more.
You value it more. And that's
create a
like when we
relationship with
met, it was magical to talk to you about it because, there's a...
Well, there's a person behind it. There's a soul
Yeah,
behind it. There's a story behind it. It's not manufactured. It's real.
Right.
It's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of heavy lifting.
And
like anything, anything you love takes time and work. And
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Well, thank you so much
thank
for
you.
coming on
What a
today.
treat.
It's a joy to have you here, and we're gonna be talking more about Perfumehead because we are just big fans.
I'll just end. I always end by saying, "Inhale the universe." So there you go.
Perfect.
It's a wrap.
Thank you.
Thank you.